Hello.
Hello. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. I have a quick request before you go, though, because I was the one kind of managing the registrations, and while there are many people that registered with us today that were with us on 12/12 and 11/11, there are many, many folks who are not. So if you could do me a quick favor and give us a review of what we talked about, how related Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Uriel are, because they are the imagination and the creative centers that work together and allow us to do exactly what we're doing, because this is going to be our Jupiter and Saturn, I think, in this context today. There's a part of us that has to do the imagination piece and really expand as far and wide as we can. And then there's a part that has to come down into the lower chakras and start to build it step by step, piece by piece. And that's our Saturn part. So I would love you to just introduce them, because they will probably filter back in through our meditation at the end. But it was such a great reminder. So thank you.
I'd love to. My favorite thing to talk about, archangels. So Archangel Gabriel is represented in our second chakra, the creative center. He's the one that teaches us about unity. He brings all the polarities together. And it's been said that if we are seeing polarities, black, white, for instance, masculine, feminine, all those different things, there is yet one more magical thing that happens when the power of those polarities come together into wholeness and unity. And that is what we're creating with this solstice. This other presence that supports us and supports life on earth in a whole new way. And Archangel Gabriel stands at that threshold for the river of all creation, inviting us to step in so that we might be in this creative flow that brings our most empowered intentions out into the world for us to share. And Archangel Uriel is represented in the third eye. And sometimes I say 3 eyes for the third eye. So Archangel Uriel brings to us that inspiration. He brings us illumination. And he brings us fresh insight, these expanded perspectives that allow us to view the world in a whole new way. That's what we're being asked to do, to see it from an exalted perspective that allows us to transcend the world that is restrictive and move into a more illuminated consciousness. Archangel Uriel holds the blueprint for our soul, so that what our gifts are, what we came here to share, that is what Archangel Uriel can illuminate and help us to bring forward into the world. And he's also there to help us to be reminded that divine neutrality is important. In fact, it is one of the keys for staying in a more humane, compassionate, expanded, and enlightened state when things start to look dark for us. So we're here in this dark time that is moving into more light every moment. In every moment we are taking more light in, letting it empower our hearts and bring that to the world as new people, as new humans that are living in light, the Homo luminous. Robert Hubbard called us Homo universalis, as we are becoming more whole, more enlightened, more empowered, and more connected to a community of souls. And this is the way the earth changes, when we come together to hold these frequencies of light, to remember the truth and remember what we're here to experience and what we brought through us as a soul for this time on the planet. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that came at this time to be the change, to be the catalyst for transformation on the planet in the new era of Aquarius. So it's a precious time, and I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful that you are all here too, and that you are here on the planet to be this beautiful, transformative being of light. Thank you. How's that, Kelly?
Thank you, my love. Yes. I appreciate it. It was perfect segue for what I want to share. And thank you, everyone, for being with us. And just so you know, we are on sacred time today. So if we run over, it's totally okay. There will be a recording. But we want to just go with the flow because we both have a lot to share. And the meditation at the end does help us kind of feel the magical work that we do today. And it is a magical day. So Jupiter and Saturn, being our guiding light, are together in the sky in all kinds of rare ways. What I would like to just bring into your awareness about that is, once again, humans who are so well versed and well built to deal with duality, things that seem opposite that are really complementary when we work it out consciously. Any two planets that get together in the sky create a conjunction, amplify each other's power, and it's always an initiation. It's always a new beginning, always. So what we want to look at for ourselves as individuals, and even in more importantly for the social and collective realm, this new beginning, but also the new truth and story that Jupiter represents, and the new reality and purpose that Saturn represents. And there are parts of all of us, and like I said, the social collective, that have to be renewed, number one, but also, more importantly, there are aspects that need to consolidate and be limited and create a structure and a container for. And there are aspects of our being and the social collective that need to expand and go beyond our limits in ways that only our imagination can lead us on. And so the idea is to use the energy reflected as above, so below, as below, so above, right? So this energy of new beginning in the sign of humanity, Aquarius, is the only astrological sign with a human in it. The rest are symbols or animals. And so this is our chance to consciously reset. Those who were ahead of the curve paved the way for this awakening that we're all experiencing at the same time and navigating at the same time together. So I'm really grateful we have each other to navigate with, because we are going to move through this process of releasing all lack and limitation and bringing in that faith and acceptance, and releasing narrow vision so we can bring in that ability to be a clear channel. We're going to release delusions and deception and connect with ultimate truth, which in my world is the truth of nature, and the rhythm of nature is the one truth we have to honor to function here. We're releasing fear and apathy in favor of pure, unconditional love and the expansion of our hearts. Like Shanta said, we have access to new compassion, new wisdom, new tools and technology that connects us even more than ever before. We're releasing all weakness and rigidity for more strength and flexibility. Let's build it like a muscle. Your patience, your compassion, your awareness, your self-awareness, your global awareness, releasing blockages and stagnation for a deeper capacity to create, and definitely the old foundation for the new foundation. So you can either fortify the foundation you've already created, which is wonderful and supportive and protecting you just fine, and it might just need an upgrade, or if you're in a 0 point like many of us are post-2020, you can start a brand new foundation with these elements woven in, with the compassion, the unity, the community that we want to be a part of, the new friendships and connections that we want to make. We're working on ourselves so that our magnetic field naturally attracts those that we want in our world, and naturally repels any drama and trauma that doesn't really have anything to do with us. So I love the timing is just so auspicious to have that happen on winter solstice. It's something else. I don't even think we could line up the math to make it happen. This is precious. Solstice is the time, like we've been talking about, everybody knows it's the welcoming the light, return of the light, preparing for it to come. It has never let us down. The sun continues to rise day after day. So we can use these energies to strengthen and fortify ourselves in certain ways, but also lighten up and be more flexible and adaptable and okay with change or some kind of unusual element coming in from out of the blue. Because remember now, Uranus rules Aquarius. So if Aquarius is going to be our ruling lesson for the next couple of years, which it is, we're going to be learning how to detach and not be too attached to one way or the old way or whatever. And we're going to learn to be grounded in our hearts, because that's going to be the only time and way that we can magnetize what we need, desire, and deserve is with our hearts and our magnetic fields at this point. Everything's going to look strange because it's all new. Everything's going to feel a little awkward at first because it's all new. And so rather than going into fear mode of what's wrong with this because it's new and different, let's get excited and explore the opportunities and possibilities to do everything we got to do anyway. We all have to still eat and function and go to work and deal with our families and friends, but we need to do it in a new way. So I am really anti-victim on this. I want us to claim the vision, and we are creating. We're living it. Our community lives this. This practice has been embodied through all our connections. Shanta and I have talked about this many years, how we don't seem to attract negative or dark energy into our circle at all. And I think it's because we just maintain this higher vibration. They just don't even see us. So practice with your vibration, especially if you are frustrated by what is happening around you. But ultimately know that December, January, right now, where we are in this darkest time of year, there is still much activity going on beneath the surface. And this is our conception point. So even if we are limited in our mobility, we're actually gathering force and gathering energy, gathering what we need in terms of internal nutrients to basically have the energy and strength to activate our new year come spring, right? So we are communing with other realms at this time. We're honoring the darkness and silence and receiving information, nourishment, and replenishment with a clear intention of strengthening for the soon-to-come action and forward movement. Next season is a little more mental, but this season, and this is for the next 6 weeks, is about what you feel on the deepest levels and creating space to move from that center within out into the world to be useful and be a useful and dynamic participant. You know, this is the time of year to set your intentions for what you want to create within your own being and out in the world. And it's time to strategize about the future, you know, so we're dreaming up the container. We don't know exactly what that is, so we want to be able to expand our vision and really think outside the box. If never before, certainly this year is the year to do it. Renew your faith, consolidate your effort, assess your resources, see what you have and what you need. Connect to the responsibilities and commitments that you want to do in the coming year, right? Because it is such a turning point. This is not just 1 year. This is a decade, and this is an age. This is just so big, I can't even say. So any little bit of awareness is going to ripple out. The past is definitely done unless you carry it with you, unless you keep it in the present. So anything you're really ready to release, we're on the heels of some eclipses which facilitate permanent change. Let's let go and let God and trust. You know, when I walk out the door for travel, I always say, whatever I don't have, I don't need, because I don't want to get somewhere and have forgotten something critical. And ever since I started that prayer for travel, it's worked. But everybody's had that experience of getting somewhere and forgetting something really important. Like I said, this is the time to dream and visualize, but in vivid detail, whatever your desired life or life's work is. Imagine your favorite daily routine. If you could just map out your daily routine your way, start dreaming that up. And even if you can't do it every day out the gate, you can probably do it a couple days a week. It will always drain you, or at least at this time, it will drain you to spend more time looking backwards. But it will infuse you with energy and strength, I believe, if you spend that same time and energy looking forward. So there's a part of me that wants to remind you as well, you know, we're always working on our inner child and forgiving ourselves for things, poor choices, bad decisions. But let's go to our future self. Go 5 or 10 years down the road and ask your future self what they would like you to work on right now that can be in place by then that would make their life easier. And I'm telling you, you start getting these insights, you getting these ideas, and it pulls you forward instead of holding you back in the past. And that is so important, because the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that is so rare is rare because of the element that it's in. It has been 800 years of earth focus, of the value of us agreeing as a social collective. You got to know that basically the story we're telling, we're all agreeing to on some level. And that's why we get together at these special sacred times to plant new seeds and to anchor the light and hold the vision of what we really want for the highest good of all involved. And this is just so special. And as that value shifts from material wealth or outer beauty or what you can physically do, it's shifting to the element of air, which is more intellectual and ideas and concepts and the value of technology, but also I think telepathy is going to be part of it. We're going to think things and manifest quicker if you haven't already. I mean, it's really getting even more and more as the years go on, but this has been a really amazing year for miracles in and of themselves. So I want you all to claim that too, because we are wrapping up a year where we had a whole year of stirring the cauldron for miracles. And as much as things went crazy and haywire and out the window, we had lots of things. You know, what is the saying? When he closes a door, he opens a window. You know, that whole concept that if we just shift our focus, we will find the resources we need in the moment to do what we need to do. And if we could be a little bit happier or a little bit more easier in our souls about improvising and thinking on our feet, and not being able to plan every second. You know, I know that's frustrating for the planners. I got a lot of Virgo. It gets on my nerves too. But I'll tell you what, all the magic I've ever had was when I let go and wasn't trying to control everything and hold that structure so tight. It was always when I let go and let my imagination roll and let my soul lead me where I needed to go. And the thing that I find challenging is always to explain it to those around you. So I just stopped explaining it after a while, and I just follow my soul now, and everybody around me kind of knows it, so they know even if it looks funny or they don't understand it, a year or two later, they all come around, that's what you were doing. Oh, now I see. So it's definitely a responsibility to manifest your dreams. So this is the time where we kind of own it and choose a reality, choose a story that you're going to feed and tend to over the next 1 to 3 years. This is just a warm-up, and this is, like I said, the conceptual point behind the scenes. February 1st, the first week of February, when we have the Aquarius Gate of Power, that is the spark of life and the fire of inspiration, like where we're in Capricorn and Earth element now. At that point, we're going to activate the fire of inspiration, and theoretically, that's what inspires what we birth in spring. So you don't have to know exactly what you want to do for the new year. Right now, keep it in the realm of essence and vibration or frequency and how you want to feel and what you want to experience, what kind of conversations do you want to have, what kind of people do you want to be around, and work that into your intentions. And let me just say, these two are no slouch to work with. And real quick, I've got a couple of things to put on the table before we move on to prayers and a meditation. First of all, with Saturn, I just want to give you a little bit on each of them because all of us are going to feel this in some form or fashion, but often you're going to feel a little bit more of one or the other. So I just want you ready. With Saturn, it's about your foundation and all the restructuring that's going on right now. We are in a reality check place that last happened in 1990 to 93. For those of you who are old enough to remember that time frame, that's the last time Saturn was in Aquarius for 2.5 years. So we have a cycle that's just completed, but for us on the ground, we want to create a purpose, not a job, to know that if you don't shift willingly, your Saturn will remind you that it's your life, not someone else's. So that's the whole inner authority piece that Saturn brings up. And with Aquarius, its independence and freedom is really the priority. How do you do that? And we're going to be asked to take on new responsibilities in order to have more freedom. We have to create your own structure or live within another's. Create your own reality or live within another's. Saturn is also the line between the visible and invisible realms, okay? So that's something to keep in mind as well. That's our limit. That's as far as we can go. So what do you want to bring into form is going to be how you work with Saturn going over the next couple of years. And if you are Aquarius, Leo, or Taurus, Scorpio, the restructuring is very complementary to you all as well. Be mindful of how you give away your power. And if Sag launches the new story and Capricorn is the casting director, then it falls to Saturn to determine the character development. So I say it's Saturn's job to test you from all angles, thereby developing your character. It's not when things are going smoothly that you find out what you're made of. It's when everything is going wrong and everyone that normally supports you has scattered to the four winds and you're standing there vulnerable and alone. That is when you find out what you're truly made of. And if you don't like the preview of what's happening, then working with Saturn directly will help you release the non-essential and access that deep reservoir of strength. Because ultimately, Saturn's trying to build some muscle and some strength and fortitude and something long-lasting. The desire to fit in, succeed, and or get ahead is usually where your inner authority is willingly, if not consciously, given away. So that's where we want to think about what we're trying to accomplish in the next 3 years. Saturn facilitates the lessons necessary for you to fulfill your potential. However, you still have free will and choice, and the responsibility for all of it, the success or failure, does lie in your own hands. And so that's where we can ask Saturn to help us rather than the blockages and delays and the depression and the anxiety that Saturn is commonly known for. You have to know that it's only pointing those things out to show you what you need to strengthen and fortify. So if you see any cracks in your system right now or in your Aquarius department, if you know the houses in your chart, then that's what's getting strengthened. And accept full responsibility for all of you. Own it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and Saturn will reward you. You know, that's the thing. For our commitment and our follow-through and doing things in a step-by-step way, Saturn will give you physical, literal rewards. Beware of labels. You are multidimensional. Living through others is giving away your power and authority in another way. Your contribution is unique, necessary, major, and your obligation. So it's, God's gift to us is life. What we do with it is our gift to God, right? And it's something to keep in mind right now, a mantra. I used to do blah, blah, blah. I used to think that way. I used to feel that way. I used to want those things. Now I've changed my mind. I've changed my consciousness. I've changed my body. I've changed my environment. Whatever it is, we're in new territory. And post-2020 is going to really show that in so many ways. So Saturn just wants us to grow up and get real and face any fears or reality check that's coming up. If you go into denial yourself, you just extend the pain zone. That's all I can say. With Saturn, if it is got its foot on your neck, then you want to work with it consciously to get that to lighten up. You will be exhilarated once you successfully navigate some of the rough terrain that Saturn does bring up sometimes. But it's all about defining your terms. So that's another place where we want to get clear, because the more clear about what you want to bring into form or what kind of structures work for you or what kind of limits work for you, then the better off you'll be. Avoiding choices only makes them harder. Avoiding challenges only makes them bigger with Saturn. Saturn helps us get congruent within and without. If we take our inner authority seriously, then most of the time our environment works out pretty well. Distractions steal your time, a precious resource. Also Saturn's domain. It's all about time. Okay, but with Jupiter, it's all about dreaming that bigger vision. So once you kind of know what your foundation, and Shanta, maybe in the meditation, the roots that go down, she's the one that taught me this. The deeper our roots, the wider we can expand up top. So this is where we want to use Saturn for the roots and use Jupiter to expand our consciousness. And remember, your consciousness can shift in an instant, but physicality, matter, 3D takes time. So allow yourself to live in both realms and give yourself time and honor whichever realm you need to be in. If it's the imagination Jupiter realm where we're expanding and visioning, fine, great, that's wonderful, be present. But if it's in reality check, Saturn mode, what's real and what are we doing here today, then you're going to have to do some of that too. And just know that you're going to balance all that and work all that through over the next 3 years. Expand your field of knowledge. Go back to school. Learn something new. Jupiter always expands our education in some way and asks us to seek a higher truth, to ask for the wisdom behind the words, to ask for the understanding behind the concepts and stories and ideas, right? The deeper understanding. We're also building character with Jupiter because we start to reveal ourselves by what we believe to be true or possible. We start making these choices, and that may be limited. It might be based on our family conditioning, our cultural conditioning, our social conditioning. So we get a clean slate this year, y'all, in so many ways. I can't even count. So any new beginning you want, you can do it. Jupiter activates your spiritual class. So for those in a position to do that over the next 1 to 3 years and really deepen your dedication to living your truth and purpose in the here and now. And just beware, like I said, the shadow side of Saturn is the darkness and the depression and the apathy, fear and doubt. That's Saturn's domain, but it's only to challenge you to wake up that courage. Jupiter's shadow is more like the blind spot, self-righteousness. Of course, it's the biggest planet, so it makes everything bigger. It exaggerates. So any excesses need to be looked at with a critical eye and be aware of. And then my prayer, most of you know that are in our circles regularly, my Jupiter prayer is, thank you for revealing my blind spot in time to cultivate a positive, effective response. The other side to that is, thank you for revealing my hidden potential in time to cultivate a positive, effective response. So either way, we are working with our own potential. We're working with what we are calling in on the social collective levels. And I am going to wrap up here and may create a little addendum audio to go up on a podcast to go into more details down the road. But just suffice it to say the two charts that support us today, I printed the Winter Solstice chart and the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction chart. One is ruled by Scorpio, one is ruled by Taurus. So that just tells me once again that we're in this zone of power to create the garden of our lives and tend to this garden that we were born into in a whole new way and birth it in a whole new way and honor our power in a whole new way. And when Taurus is ruling the chart, the beauty way is the successful way. So that's what we're calling in. When Scorpio is ruling the chart, and in this case, it's for winter solstice, it's ruling, it's 29 degrees. That's such a powerful degree, and it puts it all the Sag in the first house. So we're dreaming big for ourselves, but we're also connecting to the truth of our own power to create and cultivate a life that we can love and be proud of and know that we're not disrespecting nature or each other just to function. So that is going to be a lot of the theme as well, is where we put our power and authority as individuals. We have more than we give ourselves credit for. And the only other thing I wanted to put on the table is this year's Mercury retrograde for 2021 will be all in air signs as well. So again, there's just layer after layer after layer of introducing us to the element of air, which tells me it's very mental. So be really good to your nervous system. Give your mental body a break as often as you possibly can. Use some awareness when you are processing ideas and thoughts and concepts and information that you're gathering, and run it through various filters and have your go-to people that you can trust that will reflect back to you well and righteously what you need to see in that moment. And just know that the ideas and opportunities, I feel like 2021 is very much of an exploratory year, of an improvisational year, where we get to find out how many new options and opportunities we have, whereas 2022 will start to anchor them and bring them into form. Like all the ideas that we birthed this year, it'll take a little bit to bring things into form, but trust me, you'll know from your heart's reaction or your heart's response to whatever it is, whether it's a yes or a no from your heart, you will know. And that's what you have to go on going forward. Oh, there's one last thing that I want to put on the table about Jupiter and Saturn being in Aquarius during the years Uranus lives in Taurus. That puts them in a direct activation with each other. My sense of this is Jupiter only hits Uranus once in this challenging square way. Now, Jupiter is the faith and belief system planet, whereas Uranus is awakening and liberation. It's bigger, it's deeper. It's the aha moments that you can't turn back on, that wake you up to this new level. So when they're growing like this together in a process of growth, let's say, let's just claim that in a conscious way, whatever you need it to be. And if you know your Aquarius to Taurus departments, that's where the energy is. But you're building some strength and fortitude there too. A 90-degree angle stabilizes things. So even though we're getting out of comfort zone into new territory here, and part of that is the spark of all these new ideas, it's throwing off the Taurus part of us that likes the stability and that same old structure that we can count on, that we have counted on, but we can't really count on it going forward, so we have to break to realign. Saturn, on the other hand, is going to be a process and hit it 3 times over. So I would say over the course of the whole year. And again, this should go into your intentions and thoughts about initiating this year. That's what the next month is about. But just be aware that the reality planet is going to go at it with the planet of liberation and awakening, where Saturn wants to be structurally sound and old and traditional. Uranus is like, blow that out of the water. And by the same token, they both are traditional rulers of Aquarius. So somehow they're all related anyway. You know, there's this aspect of Aquarius that has so much to do with responsibility, but it also is forward thinking. It's the responsibility for our future that we're seeding at this point, and we want humans to be the stewards of the earth that we were born to be. So we need that culture of respect for life to come back into prevalence. So we have access to reset these things throughout the year, and just know that when they do square off in that way, to know, ask yourself in the moment, do I need to consolidate or expand? Do I need to make this bigger or smaller? Do I need to get tighter or looser? You know, really work with your dualities all year long and know that one is the response to the other, and it will help you find the balanced middle ground that helps us thrive and be effective, right? Because all of the energies are useful, but we are definitely in way many new beginnings. And so new beginnings, there's some things we know and some things we don't know. It's all good, but we want to choose and call in the vision, which we're going to do tonight together, and I'm so grateful that we can do that.